My name's Pat Heath. I'm a guitar player, rock guitar player, and I teach at BIMM Brighton, and I write a column in Guitar Techniques magazine, as well as doing various bits and pieces for ESP Guitars.
Hi, my name is Mike Baugh. I'm a professional guitarist and guitar teacher, and I've been invited here today by V30 amps to try out the V40 and the V30 and to get a feel for them and to see what I think.
My name's Mick Taylor. You'll know me from Guitarist magazine, you'll know me from That Pedal Show. I have been and still am a guitar journalist and writer. I've been playing the guitar for 30 years and I've been writing about them for probably 20.
Okay, my initial impressions were they're not 412s, which kind of surprised me, because when you're looking at this calibre of amp, you're used to seeing that kind of cab underneath it, so I wasn't sure of what it might sound like. And then we plugged them in. The weight was there straight away, especially with the V30, and the bass was there straight away. It came out of the cab, and that was really refreshing to hear. I play a variety of stuff. I'm primarily a metal player. I was a thrash kid when I was 15, so that is in my DNA. But I play a lot more rock and jazz. I like the fusion thing that's going on. I'm kind of a bit of a fan of that. I'm always looking for two sounds. That kind of Fender Marshall EL34 6L6 sound, and it's a constant battle. I think that's been something that a lot of amp companies have tried to kind of encapsulate, because it's representative of so many styles, and you get to go and play a festival in Portugal and your tickets at the airport, it's going to be Marshalls there generally, or you go and play a smaller club gig, it's usually things like Fender Twins and whatnot. So they're amps that I'm used to playing through. It's standard stock gear. It also sounds great, and I found that these certainly did those.
Normally I gravitate more towards the blues kind of playing and the rock stuff. So when I first plugged into the V40, I felt that really fitted the blues feeling stuff the best. It really has the response. You can really hear the pick tone, and the finger tone comes through very well. So it's probably the most transparent of the two. But the rock player in me was more kind of leaning towards the V30, because the overdrive channel it's just so angry sounding and so big and so fat. would say that they feel very different because the V30, when you have the gain channel on, when you pick, you get this squeaky sound come through that I really love, that you don't hear very often these days because everybody seems to be using the more digital stuff. But they miss out on this cool squeaky feeling you get when you plug in to the gain channel. So I really love that. But my favorite thing was when playing with both of the amps, because it just gives it that really wide, huge sound. So you get the fatness of the V30, but you also get the clarity of the V40. So when you put them together, it's a lot of fun. So when you hit a chord, the room is shaking, but you still get sustain that seems to come through the V30 and the clarity of the V40. So put that together and you're going to cut through anything. So today we tried, we put the effects pedals in the front of the amp, and we tried it in the effects loop as well. I found in the front of the amp, for example, the delay and the reverb would make it, it would be as strong as the note itself. So I found the effect was a little bit overpowering. But when it was in the effects loop, I found that it was crystal clear. The notes sat on top of the effects, and the effect kind of carried it through. So it didn't take away any of the fatness or any of the tone or any of the bass, which is really important to me, is to not lose any of that kind of overall sound when you're using any pedals. So I quite enjoyed using the pedals in the effects loop.
It was impossible for me to have a first impression today because obviously I played these amps a lot before. It's me doing the demos on the Victory channel, so I know the amps really well. My inspiration is more vintage in terms of sound, so old Fenders and Marshalls and Voxes. And what I found when I first played the V30, the kind of transient attack and the delivery of it is a little bit hard for me for the way I play. Obviously it was developed for Guthrie, who has such a precise style and such a kind of clean way of playing. Every single nuance, every single note, every single pick attack just leaps out, and it needs to represent everything he does. Me, I'm kind of a bit rough around the edges, a bit looser, my technique's not that good. So coming from old Fender and Marshall style amps, the V40 to me feels under the fingers much more natural and easy to play. It feels more forgiving to me anyway. The other thing that we've got new here today are the final versions of the vertical 212s. Now, these have been in development for some time. The one under the V30 has got Celestion Vintage 30 speakers, and it's a closed back design. And the one under the V40 has got creamback 65s, and it's an open back. And the response is quite different. I think everyone was really surprised how much bottom end was coming out of that cab, particularly the Vintage 30 loaded cab. Plenty of bottom end out of this one as well, but the massiveness of that one I think really surprised everyone today. A few years back, I got really interested in playing more than one amp at a time. Talking to people like John Mayer, Joe Bonamassa, loads of my favourite guitar players tend to use two amps together. So today we've done that. We rigged them both up using a G2 switcher by the Gig Rig so that we could have either amp on its own or both amps together. And using the V30 to have quite a gainy sound, quite lots of bottom and top and sustain, a little bit fizz on the edge. And then the V40 kind of clean and punchy and coming through the middle. It's just a massive sound. Carrying around 2 heads and 2 cabs in the old days was just, I mean, it was such a shag. You had to have a big car, everything was heavy, you needed loads of stage space. But it feels to me like with this more kind of compact design of stuff, it's much more achievable. Not least, you know, if you didn't want to go for 2 of these cabs, there's plenty of 412s out there that do a stereo capability, so you can put 2 heads on the top of one 412, not least Victory's own 412. So 2 amps, I think, is the way to go.
If I had to pick one, I'd pick both. But if I had to pick one, I think I might try the V40 with an overdrive, an extra kick outboard on the front. Oh, I don't know. It depends what I was doing. I really like the gain on the V30, but I want the reverb.
For me personally, to have one over the other is a difficult choice because they're both so good at entirely different things. I think for myself, if I was going to take one amp on the road, it would probably be the V30, simply because it's got the second channel there.
If I had to choose one, and I already have chosen one, it's the V40 every day of the week for me, because it just suits my style of playing.
I think overall that I don't need a 412 to carry around anymore.